We need to get to those Cowboys. Despite some pressing needs on defense, the Cowboys added to an already potent offense and drafted running back Ezekiel Elliot with the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft. Elliot is the first back taken in the top 5 since Trent Richardson went 3rd overall in 2012. Stephen A., did the Cowboys screw this up?
Well, chances are they did. Because they're the Cowboys. I mean, if there's an accident waiting to happen, they're going to make sure the accident happens because it's who they are. It's their nature. They can't help themselves. They just are who they are. But the flip side to it is that I will say this in all seriousness. Listening to Ed Werder for ESPN last night speak at the NFL draft, covering the Dallas Cowboys, he said something that I thought was very key that I actually tweeted about, which was this. The Dallas Cowboys defense were in on this pick, and they were totally okay. This wasn't a maverick move made by the owner, Jerry Jones, with his son, Stephen Jones. They consulted with everybody. Everybody was on board with Ezekiel Elliott being picked because although they have Darren McFadden, who's been prone to injury in the past, albeit not the case last year.
No.
Although they have Alfred Morris, who they don't consider to be a 3-down back. The fact is, an Ezekiel Elliott is a 3-down back with the potential to be an Emmitt Smith, and they're looking at it behind that massive offensive line, and they're looking at it as a 2-part advantage. On one hand, you get to protect Tony Romo because that's really when he was at his best, when DeMarco Murray was rushing the ball 392 times, getting 449 touches. So Tony Romo was very much protected in that regard. So we all know they have to do something to protect Tony Romo because, I mean, my God, if you sneeze in his direction, he might be out for 6 weeks. So we can't have that, okay? So that was one reason to get a running back. The other was so you can keep this defense off the field. I mean, when you look at the Dallas Cowboys right now, I'm thinking defensive lineman, which is what Skip was talking about, Joey Bosa, but we know he went number 3 overall, so that may not have been an option. But Hardy's gone in all likelihood. You got Crawford. He signed a $45 million extension. He didn't produce last year. You got Randy Gregory and Jeremy Mincey, neither of whom recorded a sack last year. Then you've got DeMarcus Lawrence, who had a career high 8 sacks, but we all know he's gone for a few games because
just
of
stay off.
His
yeah.
We don't know. It could have been something other than weed, but he was doing something he should not have been doing.
Yeah.
So in light of that, you would say they should have gone the defensive tackle route. Then, of course, there was always the kid out of Florida State. But what happened? Okay, they decided to go because you got Brandon Carr and Morris Claiborne who've underachieved and haven't produced, and you could use help in your secondary. Plus, Orlando Scandrick has been going through injuries the last 2 years. So I believe they should have went with the kid out of Florida, Ramsey out of Florida State. But in the end, when I heard Ed Werder say the defense was in on it and they were fine, they said, this is going to help us more than an actual defensive player may help us. Running the football, protecting Tony Romo, keeping us off the field because we've got an elite running game. I must sit here and say, based on what Ed Werder reported, I couldn't knock what the Dallas Cowboys do. I have to say I kind of approved of them grabbing Ezekiel Elliott.
You like the pick? You like the pick? Is that what I'm hearing? I thought you were a big Jalen Ramsey guy. That's all I heard about all week.
I am.
Jalen Ramsey over Joey Bosa.
I would have done it. I would have picked Jalen Ramsey. But again, once again, I said Ed Werder talking about how the defense signed off on this.
You came around.
Because they felt it would have protected. No, well, yeah, okay, you can say it like that. I'm just saying if the defense is saying, well, let's understand something here. The defense is really, really saying, we need you to protect us by keeping us on the sideline. That's what they're really saying, okay? That's what they're really saying. So I understand it. Being the cowardly Cowboys that they are, where they don't want to expose their defense too much, they don't want the defense doesn't want to be out on the field.
I have one question for you.
Because they know they're going to get scored.
I just have one question.
Okay?
What defense? Yeah. What defense are we talking about? Exactly. There is no defense.
Exactly.
I don't know. Exactly. They can't rush the passer. They can't cover. So what defense is there to even?
That's fair.
right?
That's fair.
Okay.
I'm thinking, exactly. That's what they did. They helped themselves because they're scared to be on the field against opposing offenses, and I understand that.
So now it looks like opposing defenses are going to be the accidents waiting to happen next year. Because I told you, thank you very much. Because I told you yesterday, my pick for my Cowboys was Joey Bosa. And apparently San Diego agreed with me because they snatched him with the number 3 overall, bully for them. Then I'm thinking about Jalen Ramsey was the more logical pick because it was more of the need pick. And yet, the more I thought about it as the night wore on, the more I heard John Gruden talk about Jalen Ramsey and have issues with Jalen Ramsey on top of my issues, which were no real ball skills, no real ball instincts, only 3 interceptions in 3 years. And the great John Gruden was beginning to poke more holes in Jalen Ramsey's game last night after he went with the next pick, obviously, after Ezekiel, saying that he doesn't always play as hard as he should. He doesn't attack the line of scrimmage as consistently as he needs to in pro football. And I'm thinking, wait a second. How about them Cowboys? How about them? They did it. They went with the Hollywood in Dallas, Jerry Jones Memorial, Dallas Wow Boys luxury pick of Ezekiel Elliott. Again, we didn't need Ezekiel, but we got the next Emmitt Smith. He doesn't compare to Emmitt in running style, but in impact, I got to say, we got Emmitt Smith. We're go back to the triplets. We have just maximized Tony Romo's closing Super Bowl window. Maybe a couple of more high-level top 5 quarterback years from Tony Romo, if he can stay healthy, always a big if. Des Bryant's going to get healthy, and I hope stay healthy next year. And with Ezekiel Elliott, Zeke the Freak, the man who played the biggest on the biggest stages in college football. Remember 2 years ago, that playoff run? He goes for 220 against Wisconsin, the Big Ten title game, 230 against Alabama, 246 against Oregon. He can catch it. He can blitz flop. He can run physical. We're talking about 6 feet, 225, much bigger, faster, stronger than Emmitt Smith, who's just hard to tackle, just slippery between the tackles. Can you imagine? E is in extreme energy running behind my dominating Dallas Cowboy offensive line. Listen, my offensive line, this is going to be a mismatch. This is going to be big advantage Dallas Cowboy offense. It might require winning some games 40-38, but they can do it. This just became the most explosive offense in pro football, bar none. And it's because of Zeke the Freak. The guy that Urban Meyer said last night on ESPN, hardest working back he's ever had, as hard a working football player as Urban Meyer has ever coached. Take that to your bank. I love this pick for my Dallas Cowboys.
Let me say this. It was nice to hear Urban Meyer say something very, very positive about his guy. I really appreciate that. That's number one. Number two. Don't sit up here. See, this is where you get on my nerves because you change the narrative and you're so duplicitous with what you do. You're so slick. It really gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
Who questioned Ezekiel Elliott? We've been raving about Ezekiel Elliott for years. Last year, he ran for 1,878 yards. You followed that up with 1,821 yards rushing. He averaged over 6 yards a carry at Ohio State. They've lost 2 games in 2 years. I'm saying to you, Skip Bayless, let's put this stuff in its proper perspective. As a matter of fact, we both have profound respect for Urban Meyer. We know he's a great coach and a great leader, but at the same time, we lamented how he didn't get the ball enough to Ezekiel Elliott against Michigan State, which is the lone game they lost last season.
Correct.
And Ezekiel Elliott actually called him out, and then he did damage against Michigan the very next week. So we understand the greatness of Ezekiel Elliott. Nobody's questioning that. What we were questioning was whether or not that was the Dallas Cowboys' biggest need because of how awful they are on one side of the ball.
Yeah.
That's what we were questioning.
Okay.
So you sitting up in here bloviating about Ezekiel Elliott changes the narrative because it gives the impression that we didn't recognize how great of a potential pro player this dude is because of what he did on the collegiate level. This is about the Dallas Cowboys and how awful they are, how they stink on one side of the ball, how they usually make a mistake in acquiring talent because either they get dudes that can't play well enough or they get dudes who can play but can't stay on the field because they get themselves in trouble with their recreational activities, whether it's weed, amphetamine, some other stuff, domestic violence, or stealing cologne and a pair of drawers from a department store. There's always something with these damn Cowboys. That's the story. That's the narrative. It ain't about no daggone Ezekiel Elliott. We all know what he could do.
Okay, but I thought you would criticize ringmaster Jerry Jones for going for the flash and the dash and the splash pick last night. And in fact, that's not what he did. He went for physicality. He went for ball control. You heard it from Ed Werder.
Now,
Control the clock, keep the defense on the sideline.
I said, fine. That's why I said I got it. I understand it. But you need to accept the fact and stop being there with your slick self trying to sit there and skirt over the real storyline. The Dallas Cowboys did what they needed to do to protect a defense that is non-existent. And if that means running the football into the ground, moving the chains, chewing up the clock, and keeping a defense off the field, that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. That's what this is about because they know their defense stinks. So congratulations.
And by the way, what guts and style did it take to go crop top last night? Go bare mid. Show that six-pack, Zeke, because you got it to show. Way to go.
Oh, gosh.
Stole the show.
I don't need
before and during the draft.
I don't need to see this again.
Wardrobe could have been better.
Yeah.
Crop top also protects Tony Romo.
That's just me.
Let's just see it here. There. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
That is your future.
Yeah.
That is it. Making a statement.
Try to tackle
hope
that,
you like
Stephen
that. Wow. I'll leave you with this, Skip Bayless. Who wins championships?
I'm hoping my stomach get like that. That's why I am. I must admit that. I'm working on trying to get it there. Absolutely.
If you have abs.
But then again, I'm almost 50. He's in his 20s.
You would never wear a crop top, though, abs or not.